Hello YouTube. I've been engaged recently in a discourse, a PM discourse with a fundamentalist biblical literalist, someone who takes the word of the Bible as literal fact, as a piece of documentary work. And we have been for a couple of months simply exchanging details on our opposing positions. And yesterday I sent him a PM explaining how, insofar as I'm concerned, the various books of the Bible, both the Old and the New Testament, are matters of myth. That is fairly evident to me. Whether the stories themselves are derived from actual historical events or real persons is incidental. It's fairly evident to me that they are written and recorded in a mythological manner. They are hyperbole, they are exaggerations of reality, if indeed there is any reality at the core of them at all. However, I made it plain to him, and I genuinely, firmly believe this, that they don't have to be true. They don't have to be literally true to have meaning, or to have significance. In fact, I'd argue quite the opposite. If they are just documents of historical fact, then they're just things that happened. That's all, they're just records. There's nothing terribly inspiring or significant about them, any more than a record of someone's laundry list or a diary of what they did during the day is. However, as stories, they have significance, they have meaning. They are attempts by human beings to express something about their world, about their beliefs and their perspectives, and to communicate them to other people. And the example I used to him was Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment. I don't need to think or to believe that Raskolnikov was a real human being for the psychological insight and the moral implications of the events that surround him to be significant. In fact, within the fictional arena that Dostoevsky creates in Crime and Punishment, there is room for philosophical exploration that actual reality does not allow for. And that's what makes the characters and the implications of the work significant. That's what lends them meaning. And I would argue the same is true of myth. And I think this is where those who adhere to some particular literalist interpretation of religious texts or of sacred texts fall down. This is the fundamental flaw in their reasoning. The discourse is now ended. He wrote back to me with this outpouring of utter vitriol, pointing out how it was terribly insulting of me to say that the books of the Bible are mythological, that the Jesus of the Bible, of the New Testaments, is a fictional character, insofar as I'm concerned. This despite the fact that I'd allowed him to detail his perspectives on the matter, and what those perspectives implied for me as a non-believer without any such repercussions. He made it very clear in his PM back to me that he thinks that if the Jesus of the Bible, of the Gospels, did not exist precisely as he occurs in the Gospels, then he thinks that everything in the Bible, everything about Christianity means nothing. It's an all or nothing situation. And I think that's utter bullshit, to be quite honest. As a non-adherent of that particular religion, or of any particular religion, I can critically assess the stories that surround Jesus, and I can look at their implications. I can interpret them for myself and take away particular lessons and appreciate particular things about them without having to believe that they actually occurred. And what he also seems to forget is that Jesus himself, within the context of the Bible, provides moral lessons in parables. He tells stories that are very clearly not accounts of real events. They are merely designed to provide a particular moral lesson. Are they meaningless because they're not literally true? Do they lose meaning? No. Of course they don't. And I do find myself wondering, how can you ever engage in a legitimate interaction with someone, or even another material, another book, for example, that promotes another position, or that simply operates within another position, that's outside of your core beliefs, if they are so rigidly dependent upon a particular literalist interpretation of this book? I'd very much like to hear what other people have to say on this as well, particularly with regards to rigid literalism. Do the stories contained within sacred texts or mythological stories have to be interpreted literally in order to have meaning?